All right, good afternoon. Today, I'm going to talk about these new tools or a series of new tools that we are going to introduce to give a new and better customer experience for implementation and support as well. I'm Austin from Singapore office, together with Morten from Denmark. We will talk about these new tools that is already implemented and also that's coming very soon. So first of all, what's going to change? So we have several tools that you are obviously very familiar with, such as Confluence and Jira. So some of these will change. For those that are currently under implementation, you will also notice that you are probably using this new tool called Monday.com, which has already been live since September. And then for support and client space, knowledge base, and user group, this will be in 2 different platforms going forward, starting from 1st December 2023, which is coming in about a month and a half's time. So why are we doing this? First and most importantly is to give you a better and more modern customer experience to our customers, and not just for the pure clients, but also across the AIS portfolio, which also includes Digital Commons, Interfolio, and Funding Institutional. It does give a much better and more modern customer experience during implementation and support. I will cover on the Monday.com aspect, and then later on, I will hand over to Morten, who will cover on the support end. All right, so first off, on the Monday.com, obviously, for most of you here, you will be existing clients. You may not be using these tools, but for those that are new clients, you will be using this Monday.com. It does give a more collaborative and interactive tools between the Elsevier staff and also the clients. It will replace your Confluence Wiki project space. And for those that have already gone through the implementation, I think you're very familiar with the Confluence project space that you have. Please note that going forward, around February next year, which we will notify you again, your current existing project space will no longer be made available. So the Monday.com implementation will take effect that will impact the new clients for new implementation, but also existing clients. So if you are running projects such as hosting move from to the cloud, or portal move from custom portal, or going forward next year in the new portal, you will be using this Monday.com as well. So with Monday.com, you will be able to more easily assign tasks internally to your colleagues, and also look at it in a more holistic view, such as through Gantt chart, timeline, and such, and also be able to know the current project status, so that you can give a more easier reporting to your management. Yep. So with that, I will hand over to Morten to talk about the support end of things. Morten.
Okay. Before I'm going to talk on this slide, I'm going to talk to a slide that's not included. I had the pleasure of addressing user group chairs yesterday, and I had a slide that says, change is hard. Okay? Everybody wants change, but nobody wants to change. So the reason why I'm bringing that up is that we know on the Pure side that we are doing you guys a little bit of an inconvenience around changing these tools. We acknowledge that. And then you can say, then why are you doing it? Why are you inconvening us, if that's even a word? And we are doing so because we believe that the new tooling set will serve you as well as us better. So in advance, thank you for your patience and your flexibility over the coming couple of months, where we're going to do several changes for you guys. And a lot more information will come automatically flowing to you over the coming months. Now, this slide, you can forget about the title, because it says SalesForce Service Cloud. That's actually uninteresting, but that is the system underneath. What you should be marking down is that we're going to call it the Pure Client community. And that's one of 2 tools that I'll be talking to you about today. This is a screenshot of what the front end will look like. And as you can see, it gives you a number of options, these tiles, and hard to read, but there are also some shortcuts to other items there. First and foremost, what you are used to in terms of Jira, of submitting a support case and following it and commenting on it and attaching files and answering our stupid questions. This is going to happen in this platform going forward. Second, we'll have a lot of these orange tiles and other places. There will be some links to where you can find additional information. And also quite important, and those of you who were at the user group session yesterday, I spot one down there. Hi, Annemieke. Thanks for coming again. The user groups that we have, both regional user groups, but also special interest user groups, will be managed in this tool. And that means that when you get in here as any pure administrator, and you might be a member or wish to be a member of one or more groups, this is also the access point. One of these tiles says user groups. One of these tiles says release notes. And one of these tiles says submit a support case. Again, underneath it all, it's run by SalesForce Service Cloud. We're using Salesforce in Elsevier for so many things, so it was a natural choice for us, and we hope you'll enjoy it. The other half of what's coming, or the other third, I should say, because Austin has already talked about Monday.com. You should again just ignore the title. It says HelpJuice. Again, that's not what it will be known as. It's known as the Pure Help Center, but it is run by an engine that is called HelpJuice. So what you'll find here will to some degree correspond to what you can currently find on the client space. So documentation of a more static nature, something that pops up and you can use it either as reference or you can use it for a shorter period of time. Most prominently, release notes. Looking at our client space today, release notes stand for, I think it's 95 or 96% of page views. So every time that there's a release coming out, you guys log in to read about that specifically. So we know that this is a very important piece of content. Some of you will be familiar with what we call knowledge base articles today, currently stored in Jira, and they look like a support ticket, but they are not. We are bringing them into the Help Center as well, because there's a really strong connection between what goes on in release notes and that we make sure that we produce knowledge base articles that are accordingly updated and related to those release notes. So that's the vision here. Other items of documentation, again, in the client space today, which is just page hierarchy, you can find all kinds of things, and it's a big mishmash. We know it. But the final point on the slide is actually what we hope that you will get out of this, and that is a website, a platform where the items, the content are interrelated. This engine was made specifically for this kind of purpose, where Confluence or the client space is much more general purpose. So what you'll see when you go in here, and you can actually see a demo of it just outside, my colleagues on the table outside, what you'll be able to see if you search for a release note or you search for a concept such as fingerprinting. You might find those release notes where there's a mentioning of fingerprinting, but when you're reading that release note, you will also see suggested other content that may also be relevant to you now that you're reading about fingerprinting or whatever it might be. I'm just actually going to go back because I forgot something. Do you know that feeling? There's more coming than this and what I mentioned. There are 2 more items coming. And the good systems people at Elsevier say there's a 90% chance that we'll get one of them by December 1st. I don't know how you like those odds. I think they're just being cautious, right? They're engineers. And the first thing is what will be known as known issues. Today, you guys are being used to being able to see each other's Jira tickets if they're not marked as confidential or anything. You can actually go in and see our catalog of almost 100,000 support tickets. For those who have that inclination, that's perfectly possible. That will not be possible going forward. That will be a much, much more cleaner experience where you'll only be able to see the support tickets for your own account. However, with the known issues functionality, which would also be part of this platform, we will identify those bugs primarily that affect more than one customer. And we will give them a special status, the status of known issue. And then you can see it. Then you actually will be giving a list of currently known issues, and by the click of a button, you'll be able to say, I got the same problem. This relates to me as well. This relates to my pure installation as well. Or I would just like to follow this known issue and when it gets resolved. So that's another way of following what goes on that affects more than just you, but that affects other pure customers as well. The second thing I forgot, only two. In Q1, again, just the technology people of Elsevier says this, that it will happen in Q1. Today, you are used to suggesting improvements through the support ticket interface. You just say, I got a great idea, it's an improvement, or we'll mark it as an improvement, and we have a huge pool of those ideas. Going forward, getting out of Jira as we are, we'll also have to do something there, and we have something in store for you. We call it the idea pad or the idea exchange, and it will be run by Thomas Gurney sitting over there and the rest of the PM team. This will also, just like today, allow you to see all of the ideas that have been suggested, by whom, and what's the rationale between it, as well as upvote and downvote even things that you like, or maybe that you don't think are that important. So that functionality remains that you're used to in Jira today, but it comes to this platform instead. Q1 for that, and most likely known issues for December 1st. So now I'll get back on track, sorry. Remember, when change hit you, that it's inconvenient, it's annoying, but we are really trying to do our best to take you through it. Over the coming weeks, we will provide you with a number of quick guides, cheat sheets, and the like to make you come through this transition without too much inconvenience. And we hope and believe that on the other side of this, in a couple of months or more, that you'll say, yeah, this was pretty cool. I miss Jira, that's okay to say. It's okay to have withdrawal pains, but we really believe that you're gonna like the new setup, particularly for the user groups, but also for a number of areas. We are still the same, Pure is still the same, and the fundamental processes by which we serve you are still the same. And I think that got me here.
Great. So, Morten and Austin, thank you very much for this presentation. A lot of good tools coming up, and happy to see there's a few questions as well.
Chris?
Hi, Chris from Lancaster University. The current release notes sometimes struggle when we are downloading it as a PDF to share with some of our colleagues. Will we still be able to download a PDF version of the release notes in the new system, and does it map over a bit nicer than the current model?
Yes, yes, and yes. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you for that question, Chris. That was one yes too many. But that is part of the Help Center functionality, that any item that you're looking at, you can download it. I think Thomas had a comment over there in relation to that.
It's helpful. It's helpful to remember that the release is actually public, like entirely public. So you don't need a PDF. You can send them a link, and they'll be able to access it as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. Sorry, I forgot that as well. Now I did forget three things. The Help Center bit, which to some extent will look like or serve the same purpose as the client space, will be completely open. No login is required, and anything you find in there, you can just share with whoever you want to share it with. It is intended for pure admins, so that's the audience we have in mind, but it will be fully open. Carolina?
Yeah, just join in. That's a great improvement with the release notes. So thanks for that. You probably said it, but just to clarify, with the new Jira, whatever it was called, what will happen to the old Jira tickets? Will you migrate all of them back to 2016, or what will happen?
I'm so happy that you asked that question
Yeah.
because everything will be carried over.
Thank you.
Everything you ever did, Carolina, will not disappear.
Yeah.
It will actually be carried over into it's the pure client community, but it's the case management part, and we'll bring everything over. So we're currently looking. My good colleague Henrik Simonsen, that a lot of you will be familiar with, currently is working with the tech team to do an export of 86,000 records, and it's not a trivial thing, but we're getting there. So everything will come over, even open stuff. All right. Thank you.
Hi, Christine from Strathclyde. Does that include improvements as well? So what's happened to the improvements?
That's for Thomas to answer.
Thomas.
Yes, so that's a very good question as well. So I've been talking to a couple of customers already about this, and all of the improvements, open and closed, will be migrated. The closed ones, I think, only for the last couple of years, but all of the open ones will be migrated, and any duplicates will be merged, and any votes on any duplicate issues will be summed up as well, which is a big one, because we know we see a lot of improvement suggestions, the same idea, with some have 5 votes, some have 10 votes, and they get downranked. But now they'll have the cumulative 15 votes, and so you'll see a lot of jump up of improvements. And for improvements as well, Morten mentioned this, you can downvote them as well. So
it sounds so harsh. I think Aman had a question over here in the middle.
About the known issues. So the first question is, I'm assuming you'll be able to search known issues for.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool.
And subscribe to them.
Great. The other thing, I guess we would have historically used the search function, the Jira search function, maybe to understand solutions, not necessarily to bugs or known issues. And we'd be able to see tickets where people had asked similar questions to us, and we'd be able to get the answers from those historical tickets. And I'm assuming that's something that we're going to be losing in this transition.
Yes, that's the short answer is yes, but that brings an onus on us instead, and that is to step up our game in terms of the knowledge base articles even more. Some of you are already using the knowledge base articles. It started as an internal tool for us, but we flipped a lot of them around to make them public. I think we're close to 500 of these actually now. So what you're saying, Omar, is absolutely true. You cannot search the big pool of everybody's problem, but you can look into known issues and you can look into knowledge base articles. And if any of those fail, you know where to find us.
Sure, thanks.
Hi. One question regarding the interaction between issues created and improvement suggestions. Currently, right now, it's quite fluid. Sometimes something starts as a question or as a bug, and in the process of figuring out what's going on, this is a realization. It might not be a bug, it might be a feature that will turn into an improvement request. Will this kind of I would say workflow will be facilitated in these new solutions as well. I'm not sure if I understood it correctly. Is the idea pad a different interface, or is it a subsection of the issue list?
We will. That's going to work slightly different as well. Great question, because if we during helping you with what we believe started as a support case can see that this might be more of an improvement, then we will actually have to put it in as an improvement for you and associate Vienna with that one as your suggestion. Or you're welcome to do it yourself. But there is a little manual carryover there. And also the opposite also goes. If you suggest something that you believe is an idea and one of our great product managers sees, but hey, we can already do that, then they might inform you of that and close that idea. And maybe it should turn into a support case. So there's not a full integration. There's a little bit of carrying over there, but that will be done on our part. And
will there be links between those records? Or is it just, it will be closed and that's it?
There will not, because the problem is, if you have an idea this is something everybody can see. But if you then would want to enrich that idea with the support ticket that started it, nobody else will be able to see it other than the University of Vienna account. So there's a little logical problem in that. Sorry, Amon?
You said you spoke already to the user group chairs. Was it about the migration of the Confluence pages, the wikis, and
That was part of it, yes.
because there are a lot of links there to the Jira issues, etc. So those will have to be that would have been lost. Probably.
Yeah, currently one of the advantages of using Confluence and Jira together is that there's it's in the same family. It comes from the same software house. So all of the imperfections, despite, that's one of the things that you will lose because the support cases and release notes will not be as tightly integrated as you're used to. However, for the known issues functionality, that's going to be a key driver when we produce release notes, that we make that link for the known issues, but not your personal tickets as such. So there's a little thinner connection there. That's true. That's one of the losses that we're taking in.
Well, I have one for
Christian
you.
again?
Yeah. And another question regarding you mentioned the project spaces.
Yes.
For the customers that aren't currently implementing anything, will be discontinued.
Yes.
In my experience, even though our project space is, for example, a decade old, having it as a reference, not
Yes.
only for us, but also for you,
Yes.
is quite a good idea. So do you have any solution for this? Because as it's right now, I understood it that this option won't be available anytime.
That's true. We
Yeah.
have a solution. I'm not sure if you would call it a solution, but what we suggest, we would still have that internally accessible to us, because we actually have another Jira and Confluence instance that is Elsevier only, where we can store and back up a lot of those things. And for your viewing, we would save those as a PDF or something else, and you could have them locally. Now, this complicates the conversation a little bit, obviously, but and then if you, as a pure client, you would have a new project of some sort with our implementation department, that's going to take place in monday.com then, and that will remain accessible and viewable to you as long as the project is there. So there's a little change there as well.
Hi, I'm just wondering, in Jira it was possible to label the Jira tickets, and we use that a lot in our Dutch user group.
Yeah.
Will that also be a feature in the new solution?
That's currently not a feature that's there, but that's actually a great suggestion. Let me check that out for you, because we understand that the ability to label stuff helps you out. However, we have to remember that with this new system, you will only be able to access the tickets, the trouble tickets that comes from your account. You won't be able to see others. And that means that in terms of the user groups working with improvements, that will be fully visible, and we'll have to investigate it. If we can put labels and components on that, because that will be visible to the entire, but trouble tickets specifically will not be shared anymore.
Morten, related to that question, I know something that's come up a lot within the North American user group related to labels is the drop down of the types of tickets that are being submitted, whether it's a question or a bug.
Yes.
Is there a way to add an option there for PRS requests? A majority of the NoAm
Yes.
community has PRS, so being able to clearly label
Yes.
that as this is a PRS
Yes.
request.
That is in there, and that's an option, and it's all ready, and you can go see it at the desk
good.
outside.
There we go.
Thanks, Dave.
Great. Any
Thank
last
you.
question, maybe? We have another minute. Is there any open question? Oh, there's a lot.
Chris?
Yeah, it's when would you want the user groups to contact and work with you on rebuilding the web pages before we transition over?
That's an interesting question, because you said web pages. And the user group won't have web pages anymore. They're going to have a more of a conversational thread-like dialogue plus a file archive. And I'll reach out to the user groups and have that dialogue. I spoke a little bit about it at the user group meeting yesterday. There's actually a lot of options that I have to go through with the user groups in terms of how they want it to work. Because you can have a user group that is just for the steering committee. You can have a user group where all members of the UK community would be present, or you can have both. So I'll reach out to you, and I'll go into dialogue with each regional user group and ask them what works best for them in terms of the options we have. one size does not fit all. So custom, Chris.
Thank you.
Carolina?
Final question then.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Is it working? Yeah. So this is a question concerning the known issues, because it's quite important that we know about issues quite quickly, for example, when we are testing a new release.
Yes.
And so we usually look at what other customers have reported, and it's, to our knowledge, sometimes it takes quite a long time until Elsevier acknowledges a problem as a problem. Well, we could actually go in and just check and see, okay, that's a problem. So how long will the time be, you estimate, between someone puts up a ticket and then we will know it in the known issues list?
I understand where you're coming from, but
Yeah.
that's really difficult to answer. But it will be on the support team. That's my crew, to see as soon as something has the potential of spreading, if you will, or as soon as we see more than one support ticket around it. That will probably be the trigger for us. When we get 2 tickets on the same, we'll elevate that to be a known issue. So super fast, that's the question.
Yeah, good.
Answer. Sorry.